Anna Mogford, 38, was called to help the elderly woman after she fell and broke 8 ribs at her home. But while preparing to take her to hospital, the advanced ambulance technician dipped into her handbag and snatched the purse. While the pensioner lay in agony at the Royal Devon and Exeter Hospital, Mogford drove the ambulance to Tesco and used her card to take £500 from the cashpoint. At the end of her shift that night, she was filmed in the foyer of the hospital withdrawing another £400. The South-Western Ambulance Trust medic, who has worked for the NHS for 17 years, made 2 more withdrawals at the Aldi in Cullompton before hiding the purse at the hospital. Mogford denied theft and fraud, but was found guilty by a jury at Exeter Crown Court. She lied that she had used her own bank card at the ATMs. Recorder Martin Meeke QC said the public viewed Mogford's behaviour with concern and distaste and jailed her for 6 months. The offences followed a 999 call-out on July 1, 2017. Mogford, from Cullompton, Devon, was on duty when alerted to an elderly woman who had fallen at her home in Stoke Canon. When the medic and her work colleague arrived at 9:30 p.m, they found 87-year-old Joyce Bealey on the floor and hallway of her bungalow. Mogford's paramedic co-worker went to get a stretcher, while the defendant stayed with the injured woman. The pair then took Mrs Bealey to hospital. She had suffered 8 broken ribs and a broken shoulder. At some stage during the call-out, Mogford took the opportunity to steal the purse. 4 days later, Mrs Bealey's daughter visited the house and found her mum's handbag in the middle of the living room. The purse was missing. She checked her mum's Lloyd's account and found 4 withdrawals totaling £1,400. She said the knowledge that somebody was using her mum's card while she was in hospital made her feel sick. It turned out that within an hour of dropping her off at the Royal Devon and Exeter Hospital, Mogford had visited the Tesco in Sidwell Street and had taken £500 out of Mrs Bealey's account. She had also kept £40 in cash that was in the purse. The next morning, £400 was taken from the ATM in the foyer at the RD&E. CCTV shows Mogford brazenly walking up to the ATM and taking money out. She appeared to be reading the PIN number from a piece of paper in her left hand. There were further withdrawals at Aldi in Cullompton on July 3, making a total of £1,400. Mogford was on the school run at the time of the Aldi withdrawals. A matron at the RD&E found the purse and PIN number in the triage room at the hospital while she was clearing up on July 9th. It was on top of a medicine cupboard, out of sight behind some pharmacy bags. She reported the find and the purse was given back to the patient, who was still in the hospital. Lloyd's agreed to reimburse the cash after the theft was reported. When police confronted Mogford, she forged 2 bank statements in an attempt to prove she had withdrawn her own money. It was a lie, and Mogford later admitted perverting the course of justice. She said she panicked and used her laptop to make the false documents. The defendant, of Langlands Road, was in debt at the time of the offence and the subject of an individual voluntary arrangement. She said she had run up debts in catalogues and shopping after the loss of a child. Miss Francesca Weibel, mitigating, said at the time she forged the documents her father-in-law had just died and she felt everything was going wrong. Read more top stories from mirror.co.uk. Her references speak very highly of her, said Ms. Weibel. She was someone who was very good at her job, and this is clearly a significant blemish on her record. Recorder Meek said the impact on the victim was low because her family had not told her. The public, however, view your conduct with concern and distaste, he added. You have worked for the 17 or 18 years as an ambulance technician, and I regard that as clear evidence of positive character, and I'm conscious you've lost that career you loved. He said he had given the sentence anxious consideration due to Mogford's role as our mother in her difficult family situation, but he said he could not suspend the sentence.